You are listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report, episode 144.5. Ryan Robinson reacts to Ohio State's win over Texas.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengels.
Hey, Ryan, it was a crazy one.
Can you believe how that ended?
No, I could not.
You got to feel for those kids, man. That was so bizarre, and I'm glad I didn't have a team involved, or that would have been just that would have been brutal, brutal, brutal. In a game that was so even, if you look at all the numbers, both teams went about it a little bit differently, but we've had two nights back to back of really good football, and
Oh,
what else? What more could you ask for?
two all-time classics, two nights in a row.
Yeah, and then man, the 20th, Notre Dame's got some work to do. The first thing they need to do is find out what the heck Texas did to shut down Jeremiah Smith. One catch for 3 yards. I mean, there's no way you could have predicted that.
Ryan, I thought for the first quarter and a half, it looked like Ohio State had their um, was having their way. The score didn't show it yet, but it looked like they were the better team, and it was going to be Ohio State. And then for the last two and a half quarters, Texas looked like the better team, but Ohio State made the plays.
Yep, yep. And then when you have a big turnover like that at the end,
Yeah,
it's just, man, it's so bizarre. Notre Dame's going to need to play like that to happen in the game against Ohio State in that title game for them to keep it close. Uh, Ohio State's just really good. But what I thought was interesting about this game is Coach Sarkisian's game plan. They obviously wanted to throw and run the ball, but
yeah,
uh, on the flip side of it, Ohio State wants to throw the ball, but they throw it downfield. Texas did not throw it downfield. They just picked the Ohio State defense apart with
that's exactly right.
short screen passes. And if you look at the stats, I think yours threw for. Let me just pull it up here real quick.
Sure.
I think yeah, you're Quinn Ewers 283 and Will Howard 289, but they did it in two totally different ways.
Exactly.
And
Ewers spent a lot of
both,
time getting his ball to his athletes and letting them make plays.
yeah, yeah, and most of Texas's receiving yardage was after the catch.
Yes,
They did a lot of stuff around the line of scrimmage and then picked up the yards after the catch. Where Will Howard, obviously, that receiving core that he has, and then you got Henderson out of the backfield that had a huge game. So it was fun to watch. It was a great game, and now we got 11 days to, or yeah, 10 days now. We got 10 days now to prepare for Ohio State, and ironically enough, Coach Freeman's going to be going up against his old school, so I- I'm sure he'll have him ready to play.
before we talk about that one, and I do want to talk about that one. Let's last thing on Ohio State and Texas. I really thought Sarkeesian had the Buckeyes where he wanted them until the fumble. That the last drive that they were there, there's still 4 minutes to go in the game. Keep that in mind. Prior to that, on the drive, Texas did whatever it wanted,
Yeah,
and I was starting to think, man, Texas is going to win this in regulation.
yeah, momentum was really, really changing. That's why that play is just so
Yeah,
heartbreaking because Texas put a drive together where you think, well, if this thing gets into overtime, they might have the advantage. But then, scoop and score with 2.5 minutes to go, and that was pretty much the ball game at that point. But
yeah, I think it was 4 minutes left still. Was and then Ohio State got another interception. I guess it was just over by then, but
yeah,
um,
it was unraveling by the time he threw that last pick. So
yeah.
but good season by Texas. I covered them all year, and that's why people were saying that this was going to be a blowout win, and I thought you guys need to just hold on here. This is a really good football team that's really good at making adjustments, and especially in game adjustments. And uh, don't
Yes,
don't sell Sarkeesian short, man. He's a very very great offensive minded coach, and he had a great year.
they got the right guy.
I think so too.
All right, let's talk about the national championship game, Ryan. How's that sound?
Man, this sounds fantastic. And I said it to you earlier, but let's just say it on air. that every year we've done this podcast, Notre Dame's made the national championship game.
Yeah, that's why we started the podcast, so it would happen. I think you guys are the good luck charms, and here you are. We're starting this podcast at the start of a dynasty, right?
Yeah, well, I'd like to think so. And after watching this game, I think it's going to be a tough ask for Notre Dame to win that game. But I saw a lot of stuff that Texas did tonight that is actually to Notre Dame's strengths, offensively, with doing a lot of things around the line of scrimmage and yards after catch and things like that. That Riley Leonard, I mean, that's his bread and butter. So
It's
we
true.
don't have to we don't have to necessarily throw the ball
That's a
downfield.
good point.
Texas just proved you don't have to throw the ball downfield. You can do a lot of stuff within 5 to 8 yards and still be effective. So that's kind of optimistic
Yeah,
approach for me. But
and if you can suck them up, you can beat them deep. You know,
exactly, yep. And Riley Leonard has an arm. He can go deep if he has to.
and he's
But
got receivers. More importantly,
right. Yep. He's got a great receivers as well. But that Notre Dame secondary is going to be challenged with Egbuka, Jeremiah Smith, Henderson coming out of the backfield. They have a lot of weapons. Ohio State does. So this
yes,
this is going to be a real challenging game. But we have Notre Dame has the best coach I feel in the country, and he's going to have a game plan. And this is going to get real interesting. I don't think it'll be a lopsided victory by Ohio State. I realize Notre Dame's going to be the underdog in that game. It'll probably open at around 6.5, 7.5 points. But hopefully they're able to keep it close. And man, if they can pull off a win, I'll be one happy guy.
all right, Ryan. I'm going to tell you why Notre Dame is going to win the national championship.
Let's hear it.
First of all, the only game I've ever missed in picking in the college football playoffs was Notre Dame and Penn State, and man, was I close. But I'm glad I was wrong for you. And so if it would have been Penn State, Ohio State, I would have picked Penn State too. And that's because their defenses are better than Will Howard is good enough to beat.
Well, I mean that's not a bad analysis, but
Because
it's
Notre Dame's defense has been playing incredibly well. It was so good yesterday, especially if you take away I wouldn't say fan and pass interference, but it's a bad call. How well that defensive backfield played, how well that defense played.
yeah, it's a matter of getting a little bit healthier on both sides of the ball. And these next 10 days are going to be crucial for really for both teams. Both teams are banged up. When you're playing this long of a season now, it's just, I mean, Lord, that's going to be what, 17 games, 16 games for Notre Dame. So
Yeah, it's an
it's,
NFL season, and I love
yeah,
it.
it's an NFL season, and I think it's been one of the best seasons, not just because Notre Dame's doing well, but it's been a great season of football. I love this playoff. I love everything about it. I think maybe we tweak a couple things with the automatic buys and make it even better. But I like the 12 team approach so far. But the only thing I would change at this point is the buys by conference winners, because we've talked about this before. Boise State and SMU should not have got buys over Ohio State and even Notre Dame for that matter.
Ryan, in my mind, this was the best college football season since Deion Sanders was at Florida State and Barry Sanders was at Oklahoma State and um, Troy Aikman and Rodney Peete at UCLA and USC and Anthony Thompson at Indiana. That was the last time to me college football was great. It's
Well,
back
those
though. It's back.
yeah, it's been back, Greg. You haven't embraced it yet, and
I'm
I'm glad you
embracing
did.
it now.
Yeah, I'm glad you're embracing it now because it's great. It's everything. All my energy and interest revolve around Saturdays when everyone else is looking forward to Sundays and NFL. I've always been a Saturday football
Yes, you
nut,
have.
even when I was a kid. So
Yes, you were. Ryan, we're going to do a full podcast later this week with our official predictions, but right now, off the top of your head, Notre Dame by 6.
-6.
Okay. You think
Um,
Ohio State?
yeah,
You're
I don't think we're going to stop Ohio State. I think it's going to be somewhere like a 35-20 21.
Wow. Okay. Well, my prediction is Notre Dame is going to win 21 to 20.
I'd,
21 to
I'd
20.
I'd love it. You might hear me screaming from Yorktown.
Thanks again to Ryan for spending some time with us, and thanks so much as always to Eric and Ryan. They are the best college football analysts out there, and I love doing this with them every single time. And thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, or follow SoundCloud, Spotify, Amazon, Apple, YouTube, so you don't miss a single segment. And it would be very helpful to us if you would tell a friend about the Central Indiana Sports Report. The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media and out of Susie.